This is Sanya On Air. This is Sanya On Air. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Sanya On Air, where I connect the big OGs to the little OGs. Now, you miss a show, you will definitely miss a lot. Catch Sanya On Air streaming on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, YouTube, Buzzsprout, and on my website, www.sanyaonair.com. Now, today, I have two amazing guests for you. Coming up later on in the show, I have actor Demetrius Gross. Now, you can currently see him on your television screens on HBO's Lovecraft Country. Now, that's executive produced by Jordan Peele. Amazing show, so make sure you catch that. Also on NBC's The Brave and Game of Silence. Also on Cinemax's Banshee and Saving Mr. Banks. Now, let me tell you something. You know, whenever I'm on live on air, I always have another conversation in my head. Now, I'm a woman of a particular age. Who remembers Cinemax back in the days when your parents went to sleep? Was I the only one tuned in to Cinemax after dark? They kind of cleaned it up a little bit, made it a little bit more friendly for all audiences. But I was watching Cinemax after dark, but that's another story. You can also catch actor Demetrius Gross on the big screen. How many of you saw him in Straight Outta Compton? Now, that was executive produced by F. Gary Gray. And you can also catch him on Rampage, starring opposite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Okay, now I'm in love with The Rock. Now, Demetrius Gross can also be seen in the upcoming Paramount film Body Cam, starring Mary J. Blige and Anika Noni Rose. Now, if you're anything like me, whenever you hear the words Mary J. Blige, how many of you get the Mary J. Blige dance moves going on in your head? She is infamous for her dance moves, and actor Demetrius Gross is infamous for his television and film persona as well. But coming up in just a few short moments, I have 10-year NBA veteran C.J. Watson. Now, his story is amazing because what I really want to know is what happens when NBA players decide to leave the court. Now, if you don't know who C.J. Watson is, I'm not really an avid basketball fan, you know, so I had to tap into my male friends. But they told me that he played for the Brooklyn Nets, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls, and Indiana Pacers for 10 years. Now he's writing a whole bunch of children's books, because Marty Marr loves the kids. So we're just going to have a conversation with him about everything that's going on after NBA life. I really wonder what that transition is like. You know, you're on the court, millions of people are screaming for you in the stadium, also on the television screen, and then you leave and you decide to write children's books. So I just really want to know, what is life like for him? And then when we talk to actor Demetrius Gross, just starring in so many television and film projects, what is that life like? How do you create a family? How do you have a personal life in this whole space of Hollywood where there is limited roles for people of color? How do you navigate through that space? He's been in business for such a long time. How do you stay relevant, you know, where people are basically selling their souls for their next project? I don't know if you tuned into my show last week. You should have, with actress London De Leon. She really talked about the casting couch, and as a woman of color, how she had to kind of dodge these executives who promised her something if she did something a little strange for some change. And she said no, allegedly. No, she really didn't do it. But it's just, I'm really curious, like, how do you stay relevant when sex really sells and you have to offer something in exchange? But all of these guests, the celebrity guests that I have on my show, they don't succumb to any of these things. They stay true to themselves and they land gig after gig after gig. So that's the word for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sell your soul to get to the next phase of your life. Stay true to yourself. know yourself first, because when people proposition you with something that's outside of your character, you can stand firmly knowing who you are and say no. So CJ Watson, like I said, he'll be joining us in just a few short moments. But if you haven't subscribed to my streaming platforms, make sure you do so now. Like I said, you can catch all Sanya On Air shows on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, YouTube, Buzzsprout, and on my website, www.sanyaonair.com. Now, I'm here in New York City, where it is very rainy and a little bit cold. I don't know about you, but I don't know. Well, like a few weeks ago, I had to postpone the show. I was feeling a little bit under the weather, and it came back. I don't know what's going on with this new strain of the common cold. It's taking about 6 to 8 weeks to 2 years to kind of clean up. So if you have any remedies that you would like to share with me, just make sure you hit me on Instagram, DM me, not your personal love stories, just DM me some cold remedies, Sanya_on air, because I really need to get rid of this cold. So, I can just maneuver through this space in this world looking cute, for all of you, because this is not doing it at all. So there's a lot going on. Last week when I was in the studio, we were talking about Leslie Jones' comedy special on Netflix. So some of you saw the video that I posted on Instagram. You hit me up personally and you told me that you too had seen it. And some of you who didn't see the Leslie Jones Netflix special, because of the video, you said you wanted to see the Leslie Jones Netflix special. Notice how I'm doing that. Leslie Jones Netflix special branding message. That's a word. It's amazing. I slept on her, just like I told you in last week's episode of Sanya On Air, because sometimes when actors, comedians, they get into Hollywood, they kind of change who they are. The narrative changes. They get kind of watered down. So I don't know if you catch Leslie Jones on Saturday Night Live. She's a little bit corny, but what I can honestly say with this Netflix special, she made a comeback. She made a Puffy, P. Diddy, Sean Love remix, and she is doing the damn thing on the Netflix comedy special. So if you haven't supported this sister, make sure that you do, because we need to keep people like us relevant and on top of the numbers. So make sure that you do that. So CJ Watson, he should be calling back in just a few short moments. We had a few things going on in the studio behind scenes, but we really worked it out. Just all hands on deck to bring you another amazing Sanya On Air episode. Every single guest, I told you, I really just filter through speaking with celebrity publicists, television, film executives, and I ask, well, what clients do you have? What do they have going on? Are they a good fit for the show? I get a lot of messages, emails, social media requests for artists to come on the show. Artists, you do have a space on the show, but it's going to cost you. I do have sponsor and advertisement placement. Just make sure that you email me at sanyahudson@she.company. And for those of you with the public school education, that's SANYAHUDSON@she.company. Now, don't hit me up because I just said for those of you who have a public school education, because I'm a product of a public school education, so my parents didn't have to spend a whole lot of money, but it depends on what public school you went to. We're just going to throw that out as a disclaimer. So I had to make sure that I spelled my name for you. But I do have, like I said, sponsorship and advertisement placement available for all of you independent artists who would like to get your music heard on Sanya On Air in front of television, film, beauty, fashion, and sports executives. So this is the platform that you really need to align your brand with. The brand that connects the big OGs to the little OGs. And I really had a difficult time over the years. I just came up with that catchphrase, I would say, maybe about 6 weeks ago. No, maybe a little bit longer than that. I would say maybe 8.5 weeks ago. So my first tagline was Sanya On Air normalizes the celebrity experience. And with any brand, as it evolves and it grows and it strengthens, don't be afraid to change what you've been doing for so long. It is okay. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means that you're growing. Because if you're doing the same thing time and time again, what have you learned? And how are you taking those teachable moments and implementing it in your brand to do something better? So now we connect the big OGs to the little OGs, because what I'm learning now is these little OGs really think that big OGs like me, there's not a place for us. So I just want to make sure that every single conversation that I have, no matter if you're 16 years old, no matter if you're in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, and in your 60s too, shout out to my Geritol folks, you can understand what Sanya On Air represents and what we do here on the show. So we're going to get started with this conversation. I have none other than 10-year NBA veteran C.J. Watson. And just like I told you, he played on the Brooklyn Nets, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls, Indiana Pacers, and now he is a published author. C.J., how are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to have you on Sanya On Air. Thank you for blessing my show.
No, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
No problem. Now, I'm just going to be a little bit nosy in your business because I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Brooklyn girl, and I know that you played for the Brooklyn Nets. There's no place like home. But what state do you currently live in?
I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Born and raised.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, what we do here on the show, I connect the big OGs to the little OGs because there are some people who just think that there isn't a space for people of a particular age. So this is what this whole conversation, the premise is going to be. So let's just get right into the conversation. Now, there are so many black boys growing up who always dream of joining the NBA, but only 1% of those black boys actually make it and get drafted. Now, how are you able to turn your hoop dreams into an NBA reality?
Just by a lot of hard work and dedication, desire, and will also get there. Obviously, it was an easy road. I went undrafted, so I took a different route. But just the hard work and dedication, just to continue to believe in my dream, even when I didn't get drafted. I always just keep that focus and maintain that prosperity, and believe that I was good enough to make it.
Okay, because I know we're still experiencing something. So you said a lot of hard work and dedication. So I know, for a young boy tuning in right now, he may translate his hard work and dedication, meaning that he's only going to practice for, let's say, an hour a day. So just expand that a little bit. What do you mean by hard work and dedication? What exactly did you do?
I practiced several hours a day. Playing with my brother outside in the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
working with my dad, weight room, being in the weight room for an hour, hour and a half a day, getting stronger, working on things that people said I was lacking in, and always at the end of the day, just believing in myself and keeping that confidence to know that I could make it.
That confidence to know that you can make it. So were there people, let's say early on, when you decided that you wanted to be a professional basketball player, did you have people buzzing in your ear telling you that you would never make it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's always those doubters that wanted to discourage you or to discourage me throughout the process. But I just use that as self ammunition to make me work harder on the court and practice in the weight room. To not necessarily to prove them wrong, but they would just always just be a chip on my shoulder,
Hmm.
make myself harder.
So you talked about when you went undrafted, and that was in 2006. So when you went undrafted in
Yeah.
2006 and you decided to play overseas, how did playing overseas help you to return back to the States and get drafted into the NBA? What was so different overseas that was different here in the United States?
Honestly, my time overseas was a little different than anyone else's. I had four different coaches throughout my process. So every coach is different, and so I didn't play a lot. So I can't really say that I got much better when I was overseas. I just learned like a different culture. I got to experience and travel the world while playing basketball. But overseas just helped me grow up as a young man coming out of college, 21, being in a different country, didn't speak the language, and I was by myself, so I had to learn and adapt to things on my own. I had to learn how to cook for myself and things of
Hmm.
that nature. So it just made me grow up a lot faster.
That's so dope. That's so dope because, when people's dreams are crushed, sometimes it crushes their motivation and their energy to
Right.
move forward. But I like how you transitioned into something else, strengthened your skill set, and then came back to the United States, and then eventually you got drafted into the NBA. What was the team that you got drafted into?
Um, you say that one more time. Sorry.
What was the team that you were drafted to when you returned back to the States?
Well, I wasn't drafted. I went to the G League, and then I came back, and the Golden State Warriors was the first team who picked me up.
Nice, nice. Now let's talk about managing money. Now, many young NBA players adopt a lifestyle of opulence and overspending. Now, when you got your first big check, what was your first big purchase?
Uh, Good question. Because when I was overseas, I got a not a huge check, but it was more money than I've ever seen in my lifetime. So I just bought a whole bunch of shoes and clothes, like a retard. But I mean, coming from when you have nothing,
Right.
those are the things that you see and you always want. So I did that, uh, like anyone would probably. And now I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advise to do that, but
Right.
that's what I did. What you learn from your mistakes.
So, how did you get to that place where you learned that spending that type of money was wrong? Because some people never get to that place. They get further and further in
Uh,
debt, and they still don't learn the lesson. So, what happened where you finally got the lesson?
Right, yeah. I just was reading a lot of books. I had a lot of time overseas to read a lot of books and a lot of money managing books, investment books, and just reading things on people who are really wealthy and what they did with their money, and they don't really spend frivolously like us normal people do. I just try to take some of the lessons that I received from the book and just put it into my lifestyle.
Right, right. So, falling victim to the opulent lifestyle of basketball players and the NBA, another trap is sex. Right. So I know that you're married,
Right.
and you married your what was it, high school sweetheart? Is that correct?
Yeah, high school, so we were off and on for like a while, then got back on, I got back off, and then now we're back on again.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit because that's a real story as well. So, as an NBA player, and you having your high school sweetheart who stuck by your side throughout all of that, did you also fall victim to sexual escapades with women?
Yeah, there's always temptation out there, whatever profession you're in. But you got to stay strong in your beliefs and what you've been taught as a child and just growing up through other people. And I didn't want to have, kids by multiple women. I just wanted to have kids by one person,
Right.
and one person that I felt strongly about, and I thought she was the one, and she's been staying on my side ever since, and we've been trying to figure this thing called life out. So I think we're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, those challenges, in so many relationships, people, something happens, one thing bad, and, they're out. So I'm glad that you and your wife decided to stick by each other and work it out. Now, there's something on television now, VH1's Basketball Wives. If you and your wife were approached to be on the show, would you do it?
No, she's been approached, but no, I told her she wouldn't do it, but I told her also we wouldn't do it. That's not our thing.
Why isn't your thing? Why not?
I'm just not into that lifestyle, I guess.
Right.
Not really flashy, just more private and just not into the drama and all that kind of stuff that it brings.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Now, you played on so many different teams. Out of all the teams that you played on, which team did you like the most?
I mean, I liked all the teams. Golden State Warriors was a special team where they gave me my start in the NBA. They gave me a chance, but I think the Chicago Bulls is probably one of my favorite teams because we were all on one accord. We were one of the best teams, had the best record for 2 years straight. Just couldn't beat LeBron in the Heat, so they kind of stopped us to getting to the championship or to the finals.
So, you just mentioned a few of my three favorite words: Chicago Bulls, LeBron
Yeah,
James, and I'm also going to throw in Michael Jordan. So, who
yeah.
do you think is the better player, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I think you have to respect him. I mean, for me personally, I think Jordan, because that's what I grew up on, and uh, he was everyone's kind of like idol or perfect player. But I mean, LeBron does so many great things on the court. He passes, he scores, he rebounds. He's a great leader on and off the court, and he's just a major role model just for kids, just to look up to and the things that he does. Even adults to look up to him for the things that he does,
Hmm.
for building a school and let those kids go for free. All that kind of stuff is just a great achievement.
Now, are you really being honest about that, or was that just a political answer? Because I really want you to choose one. If you could choose one, you only have one choice. I need you to choose one. So, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. We're not going to do a political answer. Which one?
So that wasn't the first. That's the answer I tell my friends all the time when we argue about who's the best. And personally, I think Kobe's the best. To be honest,
You think Kobe?
but
Now that was an
Kobe
honest
is the
answer.
best
That
to
was
me.
an honest answer. So 10 years in the NBA, why did you decide to leave? Was it because of health issues or, it was just time to go?
I think it was just time to go. It was just getting older. The game is kind of getting younger and
Yeah.
uh, more faster. And I think I gave my time. I played all I can. I left all on the court, and that's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, the game is getting a lot faster. I have season tickets to the Brooklyn Nets game, and every time I'm in the arena, I'm like, God damn, they're running up and down the court so quickly. I don't remember them running up and down as quickly as before. So I definitely know what you're talking about. But I really want to transition into what you are doing now because I think that is so dope, and you don't find that too often with NBA players. You've transitioned into becoming a children's author. So tell us about your books.
My book is about a kid who has a big dream of making it to the NBA. He has different attributes, and he strives to get there, but he sees like different things kind of holding him back. Um, Number one being his neighborhood. He lives in a inner city, and then when he sees the inner city, he sees tattoos, graffiti, not tattoos, but graffiti, abandoned buildings. But then when he goes to school, he sees clean cut grass, nice neighborhoods, nice houses, all that kind of stuff. So kind of gets a little frustrated with that and thinks that can hold him back from making it to his dream. But
Hmm.
in the end, he stays focused, stays on the path to greatness, and eventually makes it to the NBA.
So I know the title of your book is Your Name, CJ. Is CJ really you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about me. Yeah, it's my all the books that I'm going to write are true life stories. So they're all definitely a part of me and what happened to me going into my life. I just want to inspire kids and show them that they're not the only ones that may feel this way. And just let them know at the end of the day you still can dream big no matter what area you come from. If it's bad, if it's good, all that kind of stuff. There's still positivity
Hmm.
in the dream.
Nice, nice. So, like I said, a lot of NBA players don't transition into becoming a children's author. So, did you always love to write, or was this something that just happened after you left the NBA?
It was something that just happened. I always have a lot of stories between me and all my family. Tell a lot of stories, but it's something I want to do to inspire kids even now that I'm not in the NBA and just show them that the dreams can come true and it's possible.
Hmm. Nice, nice, nice. So you write all of the books yourselves. The illustration is amazing. Where can people purchase your books?
They can purchase the books at cjpens.com. And I work with a lady called named Tamika Newhouse, and the illustration is done by a guy named Cameron. And so he's done a great job. And we have
You have another book coming out. You said in March.
March 10th. It's called CJ's Big Project.
Nice, nice. So, how are you liking this whole new space after you've left the NBA? Is it much quieter? You have much time to spend with your family? How is that life like?
Yeah, definitely much more time to my family. I get to pick my kids up from school, take them to school in the morning. So something that I didn't do. That's more like my wife's responsibilities, I guess. 'Cause, she was there most of the time, and I was always traveling. So it's definitely fun to do those things and see my daughter in plays and all that kind of stuff. To see her ups and downs through school. So just to help her throughout the process.
Oh, nice. How many children do you have?
I have two and one on the way.
Oh, one on the way. Wow, wow. Congratulations on that. So you have
Thank
what?
you.
Boys,
Appreciate it.
girls? What do you have?
All girls.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So what are they like young? Are they teenagers? How old are they?
12, 3, and 12 and 3. So my oldest daughter plays sports and does great in school. And my youngest daughter is just figuring out life. She's just everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, please, please. CJ, I'm just telling you, get ready for it. My daughter, she is 24. And I remember when she was 3 years old, she was a 3-year-old already going on 24. So just get ready for it. Enjoy this time,
Oh,
this
you already
space.
know. Right.
Because as
Yeah.
you know, girls
Going
are
by
a
fast.
handful.
Yeah, you're not telling me nothing I don't know already.
Cool, cool. So do you want another girl or would you like a boy this time?
We did the reveal today, so it's a girl.
Oh, wow, wow. See, three's the charm. Three's the charm. But you know what? With
Yep.
all of my guests, I love to play a game. It's called Connect the Big OGs to the Little OGs. Now, what this game does is I'm going to name something or someone from the 90s, and you have to say the first word that comes to your mind. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yep.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Now, this person is related to basketball. Magic Johnson.
Greatness.
Greatness. Love it, love it. Okay, now this is a clothing brand from the 90s. Cross Colors.
What was it called?
Cross Colors. Don't tell me.
Cross colors.
You don't know what cross colors are,
cross-
CJ?
No, I do know what cross colors are. I just had to think. But the first thing that came to my mind was colorful.
Color, yeah, damn sure was. I'm glad that brand left, and I hope it doesn't come back. Now, here's another one of my all-time favorites. Timberland boots.
New York City.
Yes, all day. I just went to the mall the other day and I was asking when they're going to bring back the 40 belows. So they said they're going to release them really, really soon. So the Timberland boots are very, very New York City and also Brooklyn, where I'm from. Now, the final word is Arsenio Hall.
That's funny because one of my teammates used to always say I look like him, but I don't think I look like him. He always calls me that. But I would say classic.
Classic. I really hope that show comes back. Were you a fan of Arsenio Hall or was it just me?
No, I was a fan of it. I definitely watched it. But I thought it came back for a second.
Yeah, I think for a quick second, and then it went away as soon as it appeared. So I'm hoping that he comes back and he's here to stay. But, you know, we just have to close up this conversation. And, you know, I'm sure that a lot of my listeners want to continue following you. How can they follow you on social media?
My social media tag on Instagram and Twitter is quietstorm_32. And I think I have a Facebook page. I'm not actually sure. But I don't know the exact name of it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I was stalking your Instagram for a few days, just trying to get ready for today. And you know, I was just like, why do they call you Quiet Storm? I have a friend, they call her Quiet Storm too, and I know why, but why do they call you Quiet Storm?
There's a little story behind it. Me and my brother were going to get tattoos when we were like 16, and my sister took us to this guy, and I didn't know what to get, and I'm quiet and shy naturally by nature, so she just said Quiet Storm, and I said that's fine. And the storm was for the basketball part. But when I get on the court, I'm not quiet or shy. I'm like a storm. I'm ready fast. I'm hectic. I'm everywhere. So that's how the Quiet Storm came about.
I can definitely see that because I do remember in one game you scored over 40 points. So Quiet Storm, you definitely are. And CJ, I just wish you continued success in your life as an author, and congratulations on your upcoming baby, and continued success, because with 3 girls in the household, or 4, including your wife, you definitely need it.
Yeah, five including the dog also.
Oh yeah, dog. Yeah, that bitch. But thanks a lot, CJ. I really appreciate your time, and I will be purchasing your next book when it's released in March. You take care.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. So
All
there
right,
you
bye.
have it. Thank you. There you have it, everyone. CJ Watson, 10-year NBA veteran. He is now the author of children's books, and it is chronicled after his life. So you can tell, you know, he just wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I'm just going to talk to my engineer live, so you're just going to hear everything. So I believe my next guest had called. So if you could just kind of call that number back, I may have to unlock my screen because, you know, I keep my screen on locked because there's some things in there that people just don't need to see. I'm just going to keep it real. But no, honestly, I had my phone stolen one time and I didn't have the screen locked. And because of that, I was like, damn, they really using my phone. So because of that, whatever person steals this phone, they ain't gonna see jack but I think they can unlock phones now if they take it to, well, damn. So that theory just went out the window. So just have fun if you steal my phone. I don't know. But make sure that you support CJ Watson because I am a huge fan of authors because I'm an author too, an author of 2 published books, and I am the contributing writer to a few others. So also just make sure that you follow CJ on his social media. So if you forgot his social media handle, I think he said quietstorm_32 or quietstorm32. So just replay this show once you stream it and subscribe so that you can figure out what his social media handle is. So it's so crazy that I randomly chose Arsenio Hall as a part of the word game, and he said that people often called him Arsenio Hall because that's who they thought that he looked like. Isn't that crazy? And I'm serious about Cross Colors. I really thought that was an ugly ass brand. I don't know. Did y'all like Cross Colors? Hell no. It was real ugly. I don't know. So that's a 90s brand that just needs to stay in the 90s and a part of, games that people play. Oh, let me fix my face. So I'm just thinking about Cross Colors. I don't know. It was just crazy. But as I was talking to CJ, my next guest, Demetrius Gross, was trying to join the conversation. So hopefully we can get him back on the line. But just like I said earlier on at the onset of the show, you can definitely catch him on your television screens. He is currently on HBO's Lovecraft Country, which is executive produced by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is doing a lot of great things in the space of film. I believe he started off as, I don't know if it was a comedian or something like that, but the movie Get Out was amazing. And this is the great thing about this space that I love. When you go out there and you support great content, it really sends a message to those people who are seated at the table, who don't look like us, who always say at the table, people of color don't support people of color, but you really show it out in the theaters when Get Out came to the theaters. And this is why so many projects are being greenlit and being produced by Jordan Peele. You can also catch him on NBC's The Brave and Game of Silence and Cinemax's Banshee and Saving Mr. Banks. And like I said, he is going to be in an upcoming Paramount film, Body Cam, starring Mary J. Blige and Anika Noni Rose. I believe they're in post-production right now, so when he joins the show, which I'm hoping that he does, we'll find out when this amazing film will be released. And I say amazing because all the projects that Demetrius Gross has been a part of, they've all been amazing. So I think that he really intentionally chooses the projects that he's going to be a part of. And also in our conversation, he's had a lot of formal training as a teenager, even before college. And it just makes me think about one of the questions I want to ask, the difference between an actor and a thespian. Thespian just seems so formal. You just talk with your pinky in the air and, you just drink and eat tea and crumpets. I don't know. But I just really want to know what's the difference between that. As a thespian, those who really have those type of formal training that a lot of actors don't have. And also because it's 2020, we're finding a lot of actors and actresses, they're getting their start on social media. I'm not going to say anything negative about that, because I don't want to be called a hater because, social media goes off on people. I really don't give a damn about that. But I just really want to get back to a place where you got to work hard for whatever you receive instead of things being handed over. And these 20-something-year-olds, I don't want to sound like the old lady in the room, but it's like this whole microwave age where you don't really have to do as much and the expectation is so high. So I just really want to get back to where there's some training involved, where people are really taking advantage of these performing arts schools, taking outside classes. Case in point, just a personal story. I started being trained in the arts, dance, musical theater, acting, when I was in the fourth grade. Honestly, in the fourth grade, my parents put me in these type of specialized elementary schools. Well, not in elementary school. I was just in a club there. But then in middle school, I had to audition for the performing arts school. In high school, I had to audition for the performing arts school. And I remember going into high school thinking that I knew everything, especially in dance. That's what I wanted my major to be. And I was accepted into the advanced placement dance class. And my teacher looked at me and she was just like, okay, you still need a little bit more, a lot more training. And she threatened to put me into the beginners dance class, even though I had all these years of formal dance training. So what did my parents do? They signed me up for outside dance classes on 42nd Street. So I was in school taking dance classes. You know, in school you have periods, right? So our dance class, because it was a performing arts school, we had classes from periods 4 through 12 every single day. So then after I left dance class in school, I would then travel to 42nd Street on the weekdays and on weekends to receive more formal training. You don't find individuals cut from that cloth nowadays. Not at all. It's just like, you know, they think they're born with talent and then all of a sudden they're just going to get major and lucrative deals. It doesn't happen that way. And just to do the research on actor Demetrius Gross, just finding out what he's done in order to secure all of these roles, it definitely means that he was ready. So I don't know, were we able to get him back? Okay, okay. So the publicist, whom I really have grown to have a great professional relationship with. The publicist, she often hits me up and she's just like, Sanya, you know, I have an amazing client. Can they come on your show? So there's a lot of vetting that goes on. It's a lot of building up relationships. This is the 7th season of Sanya On Air. And I remember the grind early on. This is the moment. This is a word for all of you know. I'm always trying to drop the jewels so that you can understand what goes on behind the scenes in the world of podcasting. 7th season of Sanya On Air. First started as a co-host. Nobody knew who the hell I was, but someone asked me if I would like to be a co-host. And like I told you, I love to talk. I was that girl in school, always talking. But I didn't take the opportunity and just sit there on my ass. No, I researched guests. I would pass the research on to my co-host, and then the station's owners took notice and they said, listen, you need your own show. So I was reaching out to these television, film, fashion, beauty, sports executives and just building up my name. And now I'm blessed and honored to say that they contact me and they ask, Sanya, can these individuals or my clients come on your show? And the great thing about it is we've built the relationship. So do the work, please, because it just seems as if everybody and their great grandmamas are starting podcasts. Nothing against that. But in this space where Hollywood isn't believing in the Black narrative, we need to be mindful of the content that we are producing and creating and putting out there. Content that isn't sex driven, content that says that we have minds, we have intellectual capital, and we're not using our bodies to push the narrative forward. We don't want to do that. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Going back to what I said at the onset of the show, last week's guest, London De Leon, who will star in the upcoming film Justice on Trial. Make sure that you go and see that film. It should be out February 2020. It explores the life and the murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till, and London De Leon plays Mamie Till. So she came on the show last week, and she's been in a lot of films and a lot of television shows. And she also said that, remember, she was living in, I believe it was South Carolina, working in Burger King. She saved up her money. She saved up $200. She got on a Greyhound bus and she traveled to LA, slept on her friend's couch and sometimes on the floor. And she went to an audition and she booked her first gig. And it started off just with $200 and her simply believing in herself. So whatever it is that you want to do, believe in yourself, because I'm sure you're going to have a whole bunch of naysayers telling you otherwise. Oh, you can't do that. Oh my gosh, look at so-and-so. They're doing it better. It's so difficult. Believe in yourself and do the work. work, if you aren't investing time, and just like CJ Watson said when I asked him to expand a little bit on what his dedication meant and the hard work meant, because that can mean something totally different to 5 different people in the room. And what he said was the amount of time that he trained every single day, hours every single day. So if you aren't investing in your craft, if you aren't putting in hours of work every single day, you really ain't doing shit. There's no other way that I can say that. But you really ain't doing shit. Nothing is going to be handed over to you. And when we get actor Demetrius Gross on the phone, once you really hear about all of the formal training that he had to do in order to land these amazing, amazing roles, you will understand that the people who are on this show, they really paved the way for you. So I'm telling you, if you need to get out a pad and a pen, and that's something that I did early on in this whole career of podcasting, whenever I would have conversations or interview celebrity guests, during the conversation and the interview, I had a pad and a pen in the studio. And as they spoke, I took notes. I took notes because you can never stop learning at all. And the moment that you want to stop learning, you might just kill yourself. I'm just being honest and truthful, because I think every single day when you wake up, you should ask yourself, what should I learn today? And you should tell yourself, I'm open to learning something today. And when you fall asleep at night, it's kind of like you're replaying the video and the audio in your head, and you're asking yourself, honestly, like, what did I learn? So that you can be better and better the next day, the next week, and the next month. So I just dropped a whole bunch of words and messages for you. But once again, if you miss a show, you definitely miss a lot. Make sure that you stream and hit that subscribe button on all Sanya On Air streaming platforms on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, YouTube, Buzzsprout, and on my website, www.sanyaonair.com. So we are just waiting for Demetrius Gross to join us on this edition of Sanya On Air. So I'm just going to talk about, let's say, maybe some television or film shows that I've watched recently. But before I do that, as I was coming into the studio, I was talking to one of the engineers. I was listening to the radio, as I often do. And if you're in New York City, like I said, I'm a Brooklyn girl all day long. I was tuned into the radio driving into the studio, and Funk Master Flex came on the dial, and he just gave me a blast from the past. And I don't know if you've heard this for all of you living in New York City, but there is going to be let's say, the Tunnel, but reimagined. So there is a day party coming up. It's going to be in Brooklyn. And it's called, I think it's The Tunnel. I forgot what he said, but I believe Meg Thee Stallion is performing. So it's going to be a day party. So make sure that you Google it and get your tickets, because this is amazing. I don't know if those of you who are tuned in, if you remember going to The Tunnel. Well, you should remember going to The Tunnel back in the days. What is your biggest memory partying in The Tunnel in the 90s? So as I'm talking, I'm, asking myself and trying to, just kind of muster up my fondest memory. And my fondest memory is kind of strange, but this is what my memory is. My first time at the Tunnel, I could not believe the bathroom was unisex. And I was actually using the bathroom next to a man. And I was just like, okay, what is this about? It was kind of strange. But everybody was so comfortable with it. There were so many hip hop heads in the Tunnel on any given day. And, and it was just an opportunity for those who were interested in being in the entertainment industry. You were really standing next to heavy hitters like Lil' Kim, like Biggie Smalls, like Puffy, like Nas, like Mos Def, who I went to high school with, by the way. Shout out to Dante Smith. You know him as Mos Def. I'm going to share you one of my fondest Mos Def stories. So I remember being in high school because his major was, I believe it was acting or theater, something of that sort. But we had a advanced placement class. He's very, very smart, very smart. And he stole our teacher's textbook. So the teacher's saying, okay, just give me back my textbook. And I'm sitting there like, okay, who stole the book? So she decided to search every student's bag. And I just knew that I was in the clear. Like, I know it wasn't me. So Dante was, well, most deaf. He was seated in back of me because we always talked throughout the entire advanced placement class. And she got to my row, and I went to go search in my bag, and I was like, oh shit, the book that she's looking for is in my bag. And then most deaf, he leans over and he's laughing. He's like, yeah, Sanya, I put it in your bag. So, I had to get rid of the teacher's book before she got to me. And then I probably would have gotten suspended. But that was just most deaf back then. Just always joking, always fun, just a great soul. So I was really kind of surprised when I saw him entering into this whole acting world of the world of rap, because like I said, in high school, his major was either musical theater. I don't think it was musical theater. I do believe that it was acting. Didn't even know that he was a rapper at all. But because we went to a performing arts high school, we kind of crossed genres all the time. So I wasn't surprised that he emerged in this whole entertainment space. So shout out to him, and also shout out to June Ambrose, fashionista and stylist to the stars. She styles Beyonce. She was also a friend of mine in our performing arts high school. Shout out to Taj from SWV. She also went to my high school. And even as in junior high school, if you're a person of a particular age, I don't know how many of you remember the show Webster. Well, Webster, I went to school with him, Emmanuel Lewis, and my fondest memory of him was we were backstage about to do a performance, and he's a little person. I was about to say a very inappropriate word. Oh my gosh, my daughter's always getting on me about not being politically correct. And I'll tell you another story about me not being politically correct. But we were backstage, Emmanuel Lewis and I, and he's short, he's a little person. And he asked me to pick him up so that he could see out of the window. And I'm not even going to be disrespectful right now. But so many amazing people in this world of Hollywood that I went to school with. So it is really a no-brainer when I see how successful that they are. So I was going to share another inappropriate story because I'm just not the most politically correct person. But I'm just going to leave that to my inner non-political incorrect self and just save that for another day. But it just seems as if we might have to reschedule the conversation with actor Demetrius Gross. But you can catch him, like I said, currently on your television screens: HBO's Lovecraft Country, which is executive produced by Jordan Peele, NBC's The Brave and Game of Silence, Cinemax's Banshee and Saving Mr. Banks, and you can always replay Rampage, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Straight Outta Compton, executive produced by F. Gary Gray. So I'm so serious. Make sure that you support 10-year NBA veteran C.J. Johnson. He's the author of children's books. I really appreciated his conversation and really how he explained to us, and for those of you who are tuning in, what hard work, perseverance means. And when you are sidetracked, remember, he went undrafted in 2006, and instead of hanging up his hoop dreams, he decided to travel overseas, hone in on his skills with 4 different types of coaches. He didn't even speak the language in the country that he went into. Got stronger, developed his skill set, came back to the United States, joined the NBA, and I'm telling you, sick with the hands. There was one game in particular, crossover with Sick, and he scored over 40 points. And I love him tremendously because, like I said, he's a former Brooklyn Nets player. So much success to author C.J. Watson, who was a former NBA veteran. And I'm glad that once again he decided not to sell his soul. There's so many words, I'm telling you, every time we have an edition of Sanya On Air. Approached by VH1's Basketball Wives, but he doesn't like the content, so he decided not to do it because he's personal he's shy, and he said he didn't like all the drama. So that really reiterates, don't sell your soul, people. Stay true to who you are. And I'm going to stay true to who I am too by keep bringing you so many dope, amazing conversations, so many dope, amazing celebrities, and normalizing the celebrity experience and connecting the big OGs to little OGs, because we all deserve a seat at the table. But we can't have a seat at the table unless you hone in on your craft, stay true to yourself, and damn it, don't sell your soul. So there you have it. Another amazing edition of Sanya On Air. Once again, special guest to my guest. That was a tongue tie right there. Special shout out to my guest, author and 10-year NBA veteran, CJ Watson. Make sure you catch all Sanya On Air shows, currently streaming on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play Music, YouTube, Buzzsprout, and on my website, www.sanyaonair.com. Thank you, love.